I'm Erin Webster. I'm a juvenile public services librarian for the Indianapolis Public Library System. I'm also the head of the teen committee for our system. I've worked for the system for 5 years. I worked at the Central Library at the downtown branch, which is huge, for 4 years as an info guide before becoming an actual librarian at a different branch. While I was an info guide, it was when I was in school to get my MLS. I got my MLS from IUPUI, which is Indiana University, Purdue University at Indianapolis. It took me about 2.5 years to get my degree, but that was working part-time on my degree and full-time at a library system. So if you wanted to do it faster, you could just not work. I've been on the teen committee for about 3.5 years and just recently became the head of the committee. We've done a lot of big programs for the system. The last one was for Teen Read Week in the fall. It dealt with a whole lot of zombie programs. Some of them were dancing, like this one. Some of them were doing caricatures. I drew my first zombie. It was very exciting. Others were about making zombie food, which was obviously a big hit because anytime you do anything with food, people come. If they don't come, well, you're not telling them about it, because if they knew there was going to be free food, they would come. I have a teen game day program every week. I get between 25 and 40 kids each week. It just depends on what's going on, who has what extracurricular activities going on. And again, if there's food, more people will come. That's just how it works. The last program I did for my teens at my own branch was an anti-Valentine's Day program. Yeah, there was a heart-stomping incident. Everyone had heart balloons tied to their ankles, and they had to stomp each other's hearts out because, it's anti-Valentine's Day. But someone did not keep their hands behind their backs, and that was a rule because you want everyone to be safe. He did not keep his hands behind his back. He grabbed someone else's leg, and there was an injury. She was fine. So for my branch, I work with the teens mostly, but I also work with the school-age kids. I used to do toddler story times as well, but now the person who was doing preschool story times is doing them as well. So I have more time to do stuff with the school-age kids. So I do a family game night with school-age kids every month. And every once in a while, I'll do a big program for them. The last one I did that was really huge was for Star Wars Reads Day. Now, Star Wars Reads Day just started last year, so if you're at a library system, you can get in on it now. It's in the fall in October. I think October 12th is the date of the next one. Anyway, I had flyers go out to all the students in my area. So that was 9 schools and about 500 kids a school, 500 to 800 kids a school. So yeah, it was thousands and thousands and thousands of flyers for Star Wars Reads Day. They all had a picture of Yoda on them. It was so exciting. And I ended up getting 92 people at that event. If you've ever been to a library meeting room space where most programs happen, you know that they're not huge. If the biggest, they're 40 feet by 40 feet. So fitting 92 people within that space was a little difficult. But we ended up doing it. Yay! We had a Jedi training course, and we showed a movie, the only movie that we had the rights to show because, we don't have the rights for most George Lucas films. So we showed Star Wars: The Clone Wars, which had no live action in it, just animation. But hey, the kids liked it and loved it, and that's all that matters. We also had lots of crafts. We did lots of QB crafts and coloring sheets, and, DK Publishing created the event with Lucasfilms. So they sent me a pack because I signed up early. You should always watch for things and sign up early if you can. And when I think about all the things that I did in that program, I am really, really glad that I had teen volunteers to help me out. I had 3 or 4. Yeah, I think I had 4 volunteers who had been volunteers all throughout the summer, so I knew them all well. I knew how they worked. There were some that I asked, there were some that I didn't ask to help me with this special program. And they all really enjoyed it as well. I specifically had one volunteer in mind to run the Jedi training course, and he did the training course more than any of the other people who came. Yes, he was in middle school and the others were in elementary school, but it didn't matter. He wanted to get a better time going through the training course. Now, it was really just a hula hoop, going underneath, well, doing a hula hoop a few times, going underneath some bookshelves, hitting a target with a Sith Lord or Stormtrooper on it, and then going as fast as you can through a couple of cones. That's it. But because it had to do with Jedi training, it was exciting, and you had to do it fast, and you could time it so you could better your own score. Woo! Yeah. And everyone who did it at least once got a prize. Now, the prizes that we use are generally leftover prizes from the summer reading program. So they each got a little space flyer. They're really football flyers that we used, but that they use those to hit the target during the Jedi training course, so it all worked in together. And so the other teens were working with the crafts, helping the kids figure it out. DK Publishing sent us some paper to do origami Yodas. Goes along with reading. Because if you haven't read the origami Yoda books, you might want to at least look at them and know what they are. Because if you haven't worked a reference desk with juvenile patrons coming at you, you know that you're going to get asked about Star Wars. Star Wars, Legos, Junie B. Jones, you will know exactly where she is. Any Diary of a Wimpy Kid books, oh yes, you will know Jeff Kinney's name very well. You will learn the difference between Dork Diaries and Dear Dumb Diary and be able to tell the young ones which one they would like best. And you know, if they like one of them, they're probably going to like both of them. And because they are the female versions of Diary of a Wimpy Kid, by different authors of course, they can be easier to actually give to male patrons too. Now for the big programs, system-wide programs that we do for the teen committee, most of the times we bring in outside presenters to do those programs. Like learning how to dance the Thriller and learning how to draw caricatures. We had the same program at different branches, so we would schedule with the presenters when is best for them to be there. So not every program actually happened during Teen Read Week, but it happened around Teen Read Week, and that's all that really matters. We went with the theme that ALA chose. It came from the library. Actually, it really just worked out with what we were going to do anyway. What was the zombie apocalypse? So we combined them together really nicely. We also had an author come in and talk at their Central Library branch, as well as a few of the others. I don't know if you've heard of Mike Mullins before, but he's pretty awesome. He wrote Ashfall. He's got the whole series going along, working on the 3rd book. You should check it out. That's all I'm saying. And definitely promote everything to everyone you see. You see a teen walk by who would work for the program, you might want to talk to him about it. In general, you're going to want the kids to know they can come up to you and talk to you. When I first started working at the branch that I'm at right now, no one really liked the teens there. It was very much a, we hate the teens hate us, but they hang out here after school because the high school is right next to the library. So there's security staff there just to help out with that problem. Not a real problem. If you talk to the teens, let them know they're welcome. If you show the teens that you respect them, they're most likely going to respect you back. You can get help with the kids who are causing problems by the ones who are not causing the problems. They like the library. They like you. They want to see you have a good time at work. When the students know that you are there for them, their whole view of the library changes. It's not just a place to hang out anymore. It's also a place to go where they can talk to someone if they need to. And I don't mean a counselor. You're not a counselor. You're not trained for that. Even if you are trained for that, you're not working as a counselor, so don't be their counselor. You don't need to know their whole life story. You don't need to know who's going out with whom, what happened, all the details of their intimate life. You really don't need to know, and you really don't want to know. If something's going on and they need someone to talk to, hey, you're a positive adult role model. Act like it. If they really need help with something and they come to you, be prepared to help them. My favorite thing about my job, honestly, I really like working with the kids. The teens are my favorite to work with. Now, the young ones are adorable. They are so cute, especially if you have them in story time every week and you see them grow. You see them change the way they react in social situations. That can be amazing. Watching young ones learn new stuff is great. It's fantastic. And if they get to like you, they're going to get to like the library. And when they get to like the library, they're going to get to like books. They're going to become readers. And that's exactly what you want. When I do my teen game day programs, I encourage reading as often as I can, but I don't shove it down their throats either. At every teen game day I have, I give away 2 prizes. One of them is a book. One of them is something completely different. It could be a lanyard I got from a gaming event, or it could be a leftover summer reading prize, extra freebies that you've gotten from publishers. If you ever go to a conference and see free stuff laying around that you think kids might want, take it. It's there for you to take, to give to your patrons. They want it. They'll love it. Why? Because it's free. That's the only reason. But they'll also enjoy that you gave it to them. You know, some of my teens don't have library cards. I'm totally okay with that. Most of the times it's because their parents won't come in with them to get their cards. But because I give away a free book as well as a regular prize at each game day, some of my kids have quite a library now. If the books are good, if the books are bad, they come back and tell me. Saves me the trouble of reading the book. And gives me the opportunity to know a new book to tell others about. I am not the fastest reader in the world. I do enjoy books, but I am not a quick read. So if someone else tells me a book is good and I trust their judgment, I might just tell someone else about that book. The least favorite part of my job is dealing with adult patrons. I know, you have to do it. Especially when you're a generalist. When everyone works at the same desk, you have to work with whoever comes up to the desk. I would love to pass on all the adult patrons to the adult librarian sitting next to me. But when you're the youngest librarian and you know the most about computers, you're going to get asked about them more often than the others. And some will eventually come to think of you as their personal librarian. The one thing that you should really work on that you don't necessarily learn while getting your MLS is customer service. Seriously. Now, I had a retail background from when I was in high school even, so I knew how to work with people. Your fellow librarian may not have had the similar experiences that you have. Customer service is very important. If you end up working for a public library, you are indeed a public servant. You have to be prepared to work with anyone who walks in the door. Whether they be snippy, or snarky, think they're more intelligent than you, even if the patron tries to tell you exactly how to look up the question that they have asked you online. Would you mind going to this website, this particular website, and then clicking on this and this and this, and then maybe you'll find the answer that I'm looking for? Could you go to the computers and find that out yourself? If you're asking for my help, let me figure out how to help you. Please don't tell me how to do my job. So there are lots of things that you can learn while working in a public library. Your fellow coworkers can definitely fill you in on a lot of things. And the most asked question I get is, can I have a computer pass? Seriously, can I have a computer pass? Okay. Yeah, I get that question over 100 times a day. Now, the real reference questions are excellent. They're great and fabulous. There's one lady who calls into my library every day asking the most insane celebrity questions. How tall is Wesley Snipes? Has this guy been married before? I heard this guy had 6 different kids with 6 different ladies. They're not the most interesting questions in the world, but they are legitimate reference questions. That's a lot better than being asked for a computer pass. The questions that you live for are the reader's advisory ones. They are so much fun. Unless, of course, you're one of those research people who really, really, really like reference questions, especially about celebrities. When you get someone who actually likes the same kind of books that you do, it's even better. Definitely pay attention to what other people are reading and why they're reading it. Figure out which authors work with which genres. You don't have to like a book to recommend it to someone else and for them to love it. I am not a horror fan, but I could tell people lots of different horror stories that they might enjoy if they enjoy horror movies, if they enjoy horror in general. Now, if you're looking for a Jane Austen fan, I could definitely help you out with that. Or teen fiction, because, yeah, I like teen fiction. You can also learn tons of stuff through professional development at conferences and such. There are lots of different conferences. So many. Now, I'm sure as a library student that you've heard of ALA and PLA, yeah? I haven't even actually been to ALA yet, the biggest library conference in the country. I did go to PLA. PLA is the Public Library Association, also part of ALA. And working in a public library, it was actually pretty awesome. And I've heard from my coworkers who have been to both that PLA works better for us because it cuts out all of the programs for rare books and law libraries and medical libraries and academic libraries. There are different conferences for each one of those things. There are. You just have to look for them. PLA was fantastic. I came away with so much free stuff for my teens. It was ridiculous. And it wasn't too far, so I drove and was able to bring home like 12 boxes of stuff. And yes, tons of them are books. And there are lots of authors at these events, so they signed the books. Lots of books, lots of freebies. It's all good. The next PLA is Indianapolis, so you know I'm gonna go. Even if it's just the exhibit hall, that's where all of the vendors are. They give away the free stuff. Now, I'm not saying that you should just go to the exhibit hall to get the free stuff. There are lots of programs that happen during the conferences that will help you out as well. They usually have different tracks for whatever you are interested in. There's a juvenile track, there's usually a teen track, an adult track. If you're going to ALA, I'm sure there are tracks for rare book libraries. The booklet that you get for these things is humongous. You have to go through it all to see what you want to go to because you're not going to be able to go to all of it. You'll want to get a book signed by this guy, but he's only there from this time to that time. But you really want to go to this workshop over here about whatever that program's about. You have lots of decisions to make when you go to a conference. If any of you are interested in becoming a teen librarian, you should definitely go to Y'all's Lit Symposium. I went for the first time last year. Fantastic. It's only every 2 years, so it won't be this year, but you'll have to look for it the next year. There are also small ones that you may not generally hear about. Like there's a Less Than 3 conference that's happening in October of this year that's about bullying in teens. Now, I would never have known about this except for the fact that I started following one of the authors that I saw at PLA, and they're going to be at the Less Than 3 conference. It's only a one-day conference, but it would definitely help me with my teens. So yeah, I'm gonna try to go. Conferences also help you get out of any kind of rut that you're in at work. You get out, you see another city. Hopefully you'll be able to stop by the library at that city. So knowing all this stuff is great. Being prepared for you, trying to be prepared for your patrons is great, but you never know what's going to come up. But you definitely want everyone to know what's going on at your library. They won't come if they don't know what's going on. So my library has a Facebook page and a Twitter page. We keep it all updated as often as we can. And now that you can schedule events on Facebook anyway, it makes it so much easier to schedule stuff to pop up on your days off. Also, I talked to the teacher who does the announcements at the high school. Yeah, he knows exactly what game I'm playing every week. It's easy and free publicity for me. Plus, it gives the students something exciting to say about in the announcements rather than, we're having pizza and roast beef for lunch today. It's much more exciting to say, we're playing rock band today at the library after school. Yay! So yeah, let them know what's going on. Talk to your patrons. If you see someone walking by that's in the age group that you work with and you don't know them, talk to them. See what they're reading. Are they reading? What are they interested in? When you talk to your patrons, ask them what they would like to see at your library. They'll tell you. So yeah, talk to your patrons, talk to your schools. Figure out who does all the publicity for the schools. Who will let you put stuff on their announcements. I have an elementary school that does announcements, and they announce the family game night every month. And try to get people signed up for your social media stuff. If you are not signed up personally for Facebook or Twitter, you might want to check that stuff out. And Pinterest is definitely becoming a big thing. Even if your library doesn't have a Pinterest page, it's really helpful for programming ideas. A couple of my library friends and I have our own Pinterest board that we all post to. So that's where we'll post ideas. And then if we want to do it at our own branch, we might put it on our own personal one. You can add comments and such so you know if it's good or not. Keep connected and involved. If you're in a small rural library system, get to know who the other people are in the other surrounding systems that do what you do. Talk to them, see what they're doing, see what works for them. Their patrons are at least going to be similar to yours. The more help you can get, the better. Anyway, that's all I can really think about for now. So, if you have any questions, I work with Mary. She's fantastic. She can let you know my contact information if you have any questions, or you can check out my Facebook page for the library. It's facebook.com/Pike Library. And I have the Facebook page hooked up to the Twitter page, so anything I put on Facebook ends up on Twitter. Anything I put on Twitter ends up on Facebook. It's fantastic. You only have to post stuff once. Yay! Anyway, have fun in class!